show is called The Pride Corner, that corner right there, where I usually stand between that corner and my flags, and I talk to human beings who are either allies or queer people who have taken the step to share about their stories. We have to normalize these conversations. We have to talk about them. And so if you can hear my voice, do me one favor, everybody. Tap the little triangle at the bottom right of your screen and invite the first 10 people, if you can. Have them join us in this beautiful conversation that's usually enlightening and sometimes may even be just what the doctor ordered. So I am doing my best to invite the first 20 because it looks like Instagram will allow me to do that. So I've sent my invitations. It says successfully sent. So maybe if they're on their phone, it's going to kind of get up in their space and invite them. And if they're not, well, maybe they will watch the show on the replay. But we usually take the first 15 minutes to kind of get to know who our guest is. And the way I do that is by asking them an icebreaker question. So usually the question, my go-to question is, why did you decide to come on the show? And Dr. Lulu asked me to is not an answer. And the second question, which I think is more interesting, is tell us something fun and interesting about you. So I am ready if you're ready, baayfree.
Oh, I'm
Bailey.
so ready.
I mean, I know your name, but I'm just going to call you your Instagram name so people can follow you. So, but I'm ready if you're ready. Let's get jiggy with it. So why did you decide to come on this random show to talk to this random lady about random queer stuff? And then tell us something fun and maybe interesting and maybe even random about you.
Okay.
Go.
I will say I definitely wanted to come speak on your podcast because public speaking is very important to me. And I think sharing our stories as queer people is extremely important because when you do share your story and it resonates with someone else, they feel a spark of inspiration and they take that inspiration and it spreads. And I feel like that is truly what it takes for us to live in a more loving world. We have to share our stories. We have to have conversations. And so to speak at places where those kinds of conversations are being facilitated is very important to me.
And I like that part.
Here.
Yeah, I like that part because one of the things I like to say is we are connected by our story lines. And I know there was a commercial when my kids were younger that said we are connected by our power lines. I say our stories are our power lines. So I'm trying to fix that, but it won't. So we are connected by our storylines. I do believe that. And if you don't share your story, the next person over, they say, oh my God, you lived in, I don't know, Connecticut. My family is from there. And it's only because I'm sharing my story. That's why you heard that. Something like that. But yeah, so welcome to the show. I'm excited. I think it's going to be fun. Hi, JD Jason. So as you come in.
JD, hey.
As you come in, I'm going to take a moment and just kind of give you a holla. Please type, tell us in the comment section, since I mentioned Connecticut, tell us in the comment section, where are you watching us from? And thank you for the likes, whoever that person is. Where are you watching us from? Please type in the comment section. I want to know how far this show is going. We have had guests from the Philippines, guests from the UK. We've had a guest from South Africa, another one from Nigeria. Like, we are going places with this show. So let me know, where are you watching us from today? And then if you'd like to share, oh, JD Jason, nice, from CA, nice, California, in the house. And if you'd like to share, what are your pronouns? Okay, so my pronouns are she, her, hers, but I like to say pay, her, hers, because some people are trifling, right? They are trifling and they don't want to pay. And so we have to normalize having conversations about, I don't know, getting paid your worth. I'm about to have my third TEDx talk. I just got accepted yesterday. Do you really think yesterday's prices are going to be tomorrow's prices? Heck no. Once I get that third TEDx talk, my price exponentially goes higher. So you want to get it now while you can afford it if you like. But yeah, so welcome to the party. What about you? What about you, mademoiselle? Hold on.
I'll say, I would love to say hello to Jedi Jason and Cat Lexa. It's good to see y'all here.
Welcome,
my
Cat
pronouns, by the
Lexa.
way, are they, them,
okay.
Zer. Zer is
Okay.
a neo pronoun. A lot of people get tripped up on that one. I always tell them, like, you don't need to use both. Just use whatever makes you feel the most comfortable.
Yeah. And I think also for those people who want to trip out about that, I always ask them, what are you making it mean about you? Because if my pronouns don't have anything to do with you, if I said my name was Chicken, you would call me Chicken. If I say my parents named me Chicken, if I said that, you would say, wow, interesting. Okay.
And
What
you
kind of
just called
chicken?
her chicken.
And you would just, yeah, and that's it. But, so hey, oh my goodness, if it's not Megs in the building, hey, Megs, Megs, your mama is going to be on my webinar. How cool. But yeah, so if someone says their pronouns, just take their pronouns and just keep it moving, okay? Just keep it moving. If you're going to ask a question, ask an intelligent question. Otherwise, you're going to get an in-your-face answer that you might not like. So thank you so much for coming on the show. I appreciate it. I love it. I'm excited for, where the show is going to take us. So tell us something fun and exciting and
Oh,
different and maybe even unique about you.
okay. Well, I'll say I'm very spiritual. I spend a lot of time like meditating and doing yoga, journaling, and I'm super into that. I also like love talking about consciousness. This is like one of my favorite topics of all time. But an interesting fact about me, what I think is interesting, is I grew up on a very small farm raising pigs, chickens. So I'm really into, I love animals and I'm very hands-on when it comes to like building things and gardening and yeah, taking care of pigs. It's just like a little secret skill of mine.
Wow. And you didn't decide to go to medical school and become a veterinarian?
I thought about it, but you know what? Being a writer was like, actually, I was in school for psychology and I always
Hmm.
thought that I had to be a therapist. And I had to later realize that I was pursuing the career that I thought I had to do rather than what I wanted.
Hmm.
So I had to shift my career and become a writer. But I used to be a child therapist for children with autism. And it was a big
Hmm.
change, but it was really worth it. It was really worth it.
That is amazing. I happen to also kind of parallel. I used to be a pediatrician, but
Yeah.
I think for me, I have a tattoo somewhere in my body. Okay, I'm going to put a tattoo somewhere in my body and it's going to say PEDS for life. I used to sign off that as my one hashtag forever because I really, really believed in my heart I was going to be a pediatrician till the day I die. So I'm going to still accept that because why not? Even though I don't practice medicine anymore, I'm still, I think once a pediatrician, always a pediatrician because I'm always like, oh, ma'am, do you know that your child's thyroid is enlarged? Things like that. So, hey, it is what it is. So welcome to the show as we go on our first break. The show is called The Pride Corner, our coming out stories and more. But if you know me, then you know I prefer to say our inviting in stories and more. However you want to look at it, it's fine. Bottom line is you're at the right place. So take a moment and invite your friends. Tap the little triangle at the bottom right. Let them come. They might learn a thing or two. You just never know. We're going to start the show in about 3 minutes once I take a sip of my water and I have my guests take a sip of their water. And
I
do you
drank all
have your
mine.
water?
I drank all mine already. Hello, H
Okay.
group. I'm so happy to see y'all.
Okay. All right. So we're going to get started. And so usually we want to know what is your coming out story?
Oh, okay. I actually, I feel like my coming out story is very, to be honest, unique compared to other coming out stories I hear because I grew up fundamentally believing that all girls liked girls. Even when I was like 5 years old, I sincerely believed that this was just reality, but I thought similar to periods, you are never supposed to talk about it. It's like taboo, but everyone knows about it, but never speak about it. And like the men have no idea. That's what I really sincerely believed. And so I went my whole life really like always having crushes on girls, and I never thought that anything was strange about it. And then it wasn't until I think I was in seventh grade, and I made some comments about Katy Perry when she dropped that album, like the Cotton Candy one. She's, yeah,
I
she
was
just,
born
yeah,
in the 60s. I know the name Katy Perry, but that's
yeah.
it.
Oh, okay, okay. She had just dropped an album, and she was like kind of nude on the album cover, and there's like cotton candy. And I said something about it, and I remember like literally my whole class went dead silent, And I was like, what? And then this one girl was like, that's literally disgusting. And I had this just moment of panic because I was like, I thought we were all on the same page about this. And I was just so wrong. And then after that, I sort of like tried to just push it out of my mind. I like forced myself to kiss a boy because I thought that would like change everything. But then there did come a time where I think I was like around 12, and I couldn't talk myself out of this because I mean I had literally spent my entire, you know, little 12 years of existence really believing this. So I couldn't convince myself that I wasn't gay. And I would just every single day I would stay up until like 6 in the morning watching the It Gets Better videos from the Trevor Project. That project like really fundamentally helped me. And I think this is the first time I was really depressed because I was also living in this very small conservative town. They're all Republican, and like I couldn't really, you know, be free. But my dad, I am very fortunate. My dad is extremely loving, and he's like just a beautiful human. And he had been asking me for weeks, like, what's wrong? And I couldn't accept what was going on. So I just kept putting it off. And eventually he was like, listen, I see that something is wrong and you have to tell me what's going on. I can see that there's really something wrong happening here. And so I came out to him. He was the first person I told. And I said, I think I might be bisexual. And I was crying my eyes out. Like, just, I was so full of guilt. And he was just super loving. And he was like, it's okay.
How old were you then? Sorry.
I was about 12.
Okay, keep going.
Yeah.
Keep going.
And he was just like, if you need to in the future, you can adopt kids. And he just kissed me on the forehead, and he didn't make it a big deal. But for me, I thought I was going to be like disowned or something because of the guilt and the fear. And so now I'm fortunate. I've spent my whole life out of the closet. You know, I've been out since even before I was in high school. So I feel like I've had a unique experience in that way. Because a lot of people nowadays.
I love that. I want to is your father still alive?
Can you repeat that? It cut out.
Is your father still alive?
Yes, he is.
So I want to send flowers to your dad, because one of the things that I do on this show is celebrate the parents who right out the gate were supportive. And we also celebrate those who come around, of course. I mean, we celebrate them, period. But those who right out the gates were supportive, I want to usually do this. Because it's not easy.
He deserves that, absolutely.
Yes, if more parents were right out the gates accepting, I wouldn't be doing this show. I wouldn't be doing the work that I'm doing. I wouldn't quit medicine to coach parents who are struggling with accepting their queer kids. I wouldn't. But because the kids are coming out faster than the parents are able to even know what's happening. And then the sad part is, like you said, apparently 60 to 85 or 87% of LGBT plus kids, according to Trevor Project, actually struggle with anxiety specifically, up to 85%. And then I think it's a little less about depression. And then, of course, 50% of those, end up attempting suicide. 50% of those who attempt suicide are mostly gender non-conforming. So it's a whole reason out there. And on a very rare occasion, I have a kid, I'm going to be seeing their mom today. The mom wanted me to see the child because the child, attempted suicide. So trigger warning, this is what we talk about because it's true. In the last 24 to 48 hours. And, well, not the mom, the aunt. I'm just going to say the mom. It doesn't matter. And I told the aunt, I said, you know what? I am a pediatrician, but I don't see kids anymore, especially when there's been a suicide attempt. All the more reason why I want to talk to their parents. All the more reason why I want to talk to their parents, because I know what the parent is going through when your child just tried to take their life. But what I need to know is, do you know why, possibly? I mean, we have to be okay with having difficult conversations. Pushing it away is not going to make it go away. Go ahead, my darling. Go ahead.
I was just going to ask, so do you think that communication between parents and kids could help prevent suicide for LGBT?
I don't know, because I'm not God. I don't know that studies have not shown that anything can help 100% prevent suicide. Nobody knows that. But we do know some things that are protective, and that's what we go for. The studies show that just one single one single supportive adult brings the numbers down to 7%. They didn't say 0%, because the truth is about suicide, if somebody is determined to do something, you can't stop them. And that is the truth. So our job is to get to them before they get to the ledge. That is our job. And that's my job. My job is not to, hey, do all this and your kid. No, because the truth is, it's not always about the parents. The child who is being bullied at school will also consider suicide as an option. And that's not the parents' fault. Our job, just like your dad did, is to look for the signs. And as we get into September, which is amazing, National Suicide Awareness Month, this is going to be great, because all the more reason why we need to be kind of preparing people. September is next week. So I guess coming back to you a little bit, when it comes to you and your coming out story, now you only mentioned your father. Is that the only parent that you have? And this is because I don't know. Or is there another parent?
I also have, at that point in my life, I was also living with him and my stepmom. But my dad and I have always had like a very, very strong bond. And even when like DOMA was still in place, I remember like we went one time to the courthouse to do voting, and he asked me like, if you could vote, like would you vote yes on gay marriage? And like we had some small conversations about that before, and so I just felt like I could trust him enough to tell it to him. But it wasn't until to my stepmom and then my stepsister and my rest of my family from there. I've even come out to my grandparents, my great-grandparents. Everyone in my family knows. That is so powerful, because that question about DOMA, that is so powerful, because whether it was DOMA or even today, anti-trans bills, whatever it is, the fact that your dad even had that conversation with you, to me, is golden. Because in my upcoming TEDx talk, I mentioned that, like most family, okay, not most, I like many families, we didn't discuss queerness. We didn't discuss, except in a derogatory term. It's not a discussion. It's not like putting it down. We didn't. And so people have to know that what your dad did, was probably one of the reasons why you felt, whether you recognize it or not, safe enough to, well, that he was safe enough for you to share whatever it is that you shared with him. And so parents, what we're saying is, it's building blocks. You can't just like me be anti-queer all of the child's life and then just sit back, relax, and think that the kid's going to come and just tell you everything. They're not, because they've been listening to you, they've been hearing you, they've been living with you. Yeah. So do you think that, well, actually, before I ask you that question, because that'll be the next quarter, what are your thoughts about the people at school, when you did, if at all, share about your sexuality with them? How did that response, teachers, classmates, differ or was similar to home? And how did the people at home react? Well, again, I'm from a super, super, super small town. And when I did come out, I was now the only queer person ever. I mean, the only out person, and the town totally shunned me. It was very immediate. But at the same time, are you serious? Wait, say that again for Courtney Stacks, who just came in. Hi, Courtney. Courtney, did you hear that? Oh, my goodness. That's I felt like I lost a lot of friends, and even family friends, really quickly, which is very unfortunate. But at the same time, now I was transitioning into high school, and like I joined the Gay Straight Alliance, and so I was like, being actually around other gay people was like a different level. I had achieved a different level of joy and happiness that I hadn't even known existed yet. And at my high school, I was one of maybe, I think, 5 kids who were out of the closet. But overall, everyone was very receptive. Mostly it was people just didn't believe me, because at the time I was very femme presenting. I was like 15, I hadn't really explored my gender identity. So a lot of it was like, you're not really a lesbian. You're too pretty to be a lesbian. You have long hair. Oh, it's such a waste for men. That was mostly what I thought. You dress in dresses and you act girly, so you can't be a lesbian. Yeah. Putting people in boxes. So. Nice. That was mostly what I received, though. But overall, people were supportive, or they were just like benign. Like, they didn't really believe me, but they just like accepted it, whatever.
What do you think is behind the lack of belief? I have a theory about it, but what do you think is behind the lack of belief by other people? Yeah.
Well, what I would think now is if you don't believe, if someone tells you, for example, I am queer, and you just fundamentally don't believe them, I would think that's a reflection of your own relationship with yourself, that there's something about yourself that you know is true and you deny. Because if someone tells you this, like that's just is what they are, and it's really like you have no place to not believe them. It's their existence.
Yeah, I know it's tiring, it's exhausting.
It,
But the reason I was asking is because enough
oh, ask away.
parents, enough, I'm sorry, go ahead, sorry.
Oh no, ask what questions you have,
Oh, okay.
Dr.
Enough parents, the reason I was asking is because,
Uh-huh.
no, I was saying that enough parents actually don't believe their kids. But the reason that many of the parents don't believe is because they all think that the child is too young. And so you didn't say that, but I was maybe thinking that maybe you would say that. And to that, I always say one thing. Why is it okay for the 12-year-old heterosexual or cishet child? I mean, you know where I'm going with this. And so what are your thoughts about that? About just the, I guess, almost hypocrisy that a 17-year-old doesn't know that they're a lesbian, but an 11-year-old knows that they're straight. Well, what are your thoughts about that? Oh, dear. My guest is going round and round like Tevin Campbell. All right. If you can hear me, maybe you want to leave and come back. Oh, dear. Yeah, they're outdoors. Yeah, that's kind of what happened. Hopefully they heard me. Hi, Courtney. If you're still here, say hi. Courtney, can you hear me? Say hello. I want to see if my guests can come back. I think it may very well be because they're outdoors. And so if you're just joining us, the show is called The Pride Corner, Our Coming Out Stories and More. That's the little Pride Corner right there. I, Dr. Lulu, usually interview. So I interview people in the queer space or their allies. A lot of times the allies are their parents or their family members. Like, you know, we have Megs here who is just amazing. Hi, Courtney. Okay, Courtney, I want you to tap to join if you're in a place where you can comment, because I want to ask you a question on the air. There's a question that I have for you. If you can hear me, Courtney, thank you for giving me those three taps. So let me know if you can join us, Courtney. I don't know if I can invite you even. I don't know how this works. So y'all know I'll be struggling with technology, right? But anyway, so what we've talked about so far is, first of all, my guests' pronouns are they, them, and Zer. And they were like, Zer is kind of new. It's also new for me, but I've seen it around. It's not new anymore because I've seen it around. But we started by just saying that when somebody tells you their pronouns, really, truly, you just have to accept it. Because if I came and said, you said, what's your name? And I said, Chicken. And I said, my parents named me Chicken. I met a lady last week whose name was Africa. She's as white as snow. But her dad always wanted to go to Africa, and he named her Africa. And as a result, the 3 Black women that were at the networking event, we all kind of just went to her to ask her about her name. So you never know what is a conversation starter. But if I tell you that my pronouns are Zer, they, them, in my case, pay her, hers, if you have a problem with it, like my guest just mentioned, that's a reflection on your own thought processes about yourself and where you are with your own self-acceptance. Now, you don't have to believe Dr. Lulu, pero es verdad. Let's see if my guest will come back. I don't know what's going on. Sorry, y'all. If they don't come back at 1:35, we're going to call it a day. And so the other thing we talked about is the fact that they knew when they were much younger, they grew up believing that the world was made up of lesbians. And of course, as a child, there probably wasn't a name for that. Okay, they're back. There probably wasn't a name for that, but they grew up nonetheless believing that all girls liked other girls. And I think that, that is a testament to the
Hey,
kind of
Dr.
home.
Lulu.
Hey there. I think maybe the outdoors got you because it was kind of windy or something, so I wasn't sure.
Yeah, apologies about that. My phone overheated, so it just turned off.
Oh, yeah, that will happen. It's happened to me before. One of my best podcast interviews ever. My phone got overheated and I had to shut it down. But I was doing a brief summary, so welcome back. I was just telling them that
Okay.
the fact that you grew up believing in your little mind that all girls were lesbians, let's just put it that way, which is what my ex-husband said to me, by the way. To me, even as much as you say you came from the tiniest town on earth, that was still a testament to the kind of home that you grew up in. And so I want to ask you, was it a testament to the kind of home you grew up with? Did you grow up in a house where people were in the home generally accepting? And by that, I mean, did you hear transphobic or overtly homophobic conversations in the home that you grew up in?
Yes, I did actually. I have a lot of specific memories about those kinds of conversations or comments that would be made, but I hadn't heard them from my dad though. I hadn't heard them from my dad though. My dad has just always been someone who is very open-minded and like always pursuing learning. So it really was because of him that I was able to come out and feel safe enough to come out also.
So for those of you who are watching us, thank you for sharing that. For those of you who are watching us, I want you to know that when you're talking about LGBT, okay, it's a huge conversation. But I want you to focus on the fact that, on gender for a minute, okay? So gender is complex, just as complex as sexuality. But for the sake of conversation, let's talk about gender. So my guest, can you tell us today, Bailey, what gender do you identify with? And notice how I do not say preferred gender or preferred pronouns, people. So what gender do you identify with as?
I love the word genderqueer. I really vibe with that word. But I am trans because trans is an umbrella term that encompasses anyone who's non-cis, and I do feel I feel a sense of duty to my trans ancestors, my queer ancestors, to use that label and to like help spread knowledge about what being trans really is. I also, in general, I'll just usually tell people I'm non-binary since that's the word that's mostly in the public vocabulary. But I really love the word genderqueer because I feel like I'm not a man, I'm not a woman, but I'm also both. And I'm everything in between and beyond. What I feel like is like I'm a soul here on earth and I'm living far beyond how I should live, how I'm expected to live as a woman or as a man. I'm just here experiencing, like having an embodied experience.
So powerful. And I think that is kind of what people are afraid of. People are afraid of living the full span of how they could be. And because of fear, it's like, wait, this morning I was at an event and I was talking to my friend Mario. I said, Mario, I love your earrings. And I was like, Mario is from Mexico. And I know Mario is not queer. I know that. I know Mario's daughter is queer. And I said, Mario, sometimes it could be that when you get to the next generation, certain traits just become purer. And so whatever you are, which he was like, no, I said, whatever you are, the fact that you're very comfortable wearing skinny pants with no socks, no socks showing, earrings, I want you to embrace that as you embracing all of your gender spectrum. And when your daughter came along, she was like, so for me, I'm actually trans, as an example. You know what I mean? I want people to know that the next generation might pick it up sooner and they might manifest it more than your generation. It doesn't mean that it just happened with their generation. And so this question is for you. And I love the way you describe transgender, because that is true. Transgender, I think, is the prototype for gender non-conforming. Okay. And I'm happy that a lot of people think, because obviously non-binary is not in the alphabet, rainbow alphabet, so transgender is there. A lot of people think that non-binary is kind of separate, but I think it just depends on the individual and how you feel today. So do you also, like some people I know, do you change, like do you sometimes feel more like a man and sometimes, because my ex-wife accused me of that. I was like, what? How do you know? She's
Really?
like, yes. She accused me
So
of that.
tell
She,
me.
not in a bad way, in a good way. So in her mind, she said, when I was active duty, she said, whenever you wore that uniform, I did not see my wife. I saw a full embodiment of a man. I said, when I was commander, I said, it was a role that I was, she said, nah, you walk differently. I was like, okay, I didn't notice it, but you did. So I don't know, have you noticed that with yourself since, we're having the conversation?
Oh, well, actually, I was wondering, what is your gender identity? I know you use she, her pronouns, but it sounds like you could
I'm a
very
girly
easily.
girl's girl. I'm the
Oh yeah.
girl's girl, which is why I told my wife, I said, no. She was like, I just like queer. I like queer because I always like to root for the underdog. And once I heard that queer used to be like a derogatory term, I said, oh, that's what I want. That's what I want. But I know as far as sexuality, I'm proudly bisexual. And then yesterday I said, when I was giving my talk at night, I said, you know what? I also have some traits of asexuality because honestly, I could care less about having sex. And people are like, what? I said, yes. It doesn't really interest me. I mean, I'll have it, but I'm not talking to you because, oh my God, I can't wait to get in bed with you. No, I'm talking to you because I'm a sapiosexual as well. I
Oh
like
yeah.
your intellect. And I think so. I think I'm demisexual and I'm obviously sapiosexual, no question. And so I just, and once I came to terms with that, I said, you know what? This is why they say sexuality is a spectrum, is fluid, and so is gender. For me, my gender I've never doubted my gender any. However, when I was in high school, I was a tomboy. I was a daredevil, but I don't, but I still like dresses and I'm a girly girl. So it's up in the air. And for now, I just love queer and I'm going to stick with that. But yeah. So
All
what about
right.
you?
Word. Oh, I also identify with queer. That's like what I use most primarily. Um, but for my gender, there are times where like I'm feeling more. I dress more feminine or I dress more masculine. I love looking so androgynous that people can't tell if I'm a man or
Yes.
a woman. Because before they hear my voice, there's a lot of time where people just can't tell, and I love that. But I'm actually like I've flowed very heavily into masculinity before, and then now I'm sort of flowing more into femininity. I realized that I was like I had fear around presenting feminine, just because of.
Mm.
So now I'm like, once I'm aware of that fear, am I gonna just? I have to embrace it. I have to look at it in the face and confront it. So I've been wearing more skirts lately, and also it's been helping me accept the fact that like I can look however I look, and people are gonna assume I'm a woman no matter what. That's their
Yes.
problem. So I can just
Yes.
still be me no matter what.
I love it. And of course, you and I don't know if you know this, but I like to say when I want to just like get into the space
Yeah.
of those homophobes, I'm like, Jesus wore dresses, right? Like,
Ooh,
that
word.
the Pope is only ever seen in a long flowing gown. Now you can call it what you like because I'm Catholic, but you know that the Pope is only ever seen in the most beautiful dress, right? And Jesus only wore dresses, right? And Jesus had long flowing hair, right? So call it what you like. But I think we have to be okay with the fact that German men wear skirts during Oktoberfest and Scottish men wear skirts, and it's okay. Just move on. What else you got? What else you got? And so as we turn the corner on the show, I want to ask you, do you feel like you were accepted? I think you kind of touched on this, kind of grazed this a little bit, but I want to go deeper into that. So you said
Okay.
you've shared it, because I like shared or disclosed or I don't know, told your grandparents and even great grandparents. What was their reaction overall and then specifically? And did you have to explain yourself, or was it just like, yeah, sure, Bailey's crazy, whatever, that kind of thing?
Uh, I feel like in my family, my whole life, I sort of have been like, I'm always a little bit doing my own thing. So it's kind of was who would be the gay cousin? It would be Bailey. It was like kind of understood. But now one of my cousins did come out, and we fucking love that. Um, But when I told my grandparents, my conservative grandparents, they were just like, they love me so much. They want to spend time with me. They were like, sure, okay, of course. But they didn't believe that. And like my whole life, I always would get comments like, when you end up with a man, one day when you marry a man, no matter what, because I've been bisexual, I've been a lesbian. That was always a comment I heard my whole life. But telling my great grandma was like one of honestly the best experiences. It was just like months before she kind of, I think she has dementia now. And so I was able to tell her when she still knew who I was. And she gave me the most beautiful, like heartfelt reaction. I told her that I was gay, and she sincerely, she just said, as long as that makes you happy, like then you can be whatever you are. And it like, it's one of those memories that has solidified in my heart. And I never would have expected her to have that reaction. She grew up during the Great Depression. You know, she's really come from an entirely different background. So that was a really beautiful moment. But
I think that's a tweet. I think it should be tweeted and just frozen in time. Oh. Even though, you know, in a sense, as long as it makes you happy, that is so powerful. Like, and that is empowering. And that's just like, you are who you say you are. That's it. Whether it makes you happy or not. Whether it makes you, because, you know, one of the few times in my entire life when I was like, I don't like being a woman. 3 times. I was 9 freaking months pregnant in South Carolina. It's so hot and it's so muggy. And my 3 kids were born between May and October. So it was hot. I was like, I don't want to be a girl. But other than that, I love being a woman. So I think I like that she said, if it makes you happy, or if it doesn't. I mean, either way it is, because it should not be a burden. Your gender should not be a burden. And it's only now that I'm beginning to see that it becomes a burden when family members make it about them, or when you get ostracized because of your gender. Like, then no wonder people want to jump. And then you're like, well, do you want flowers or do you want your kid?
Ooh, that's a quote. Ooh.
What brand of flowers do you like?
I just love yellow flowers. Yellow is my favorite color. So every time
my ex-wife loved yellow flowers.
Oh no.
She loved yellow flowers. Her favorite color is yellow and blue. I'm actually wearing her favorite colors today. But her favorite colors are yellow and blue. Yeah, she loved yellow flowers, and I used to pick her little flowers out when I go for a walk. So I'm so excited that we're talking about gender, and we're spending a lot of time, because most of my guests are just regular, I don't know, gay or regular, just lesbian. You know what I mean? I love that you mentioned that you've always thought you were lesbian. And then you had your bisexual phase. And then, are you still bisexual, or what would you say sexuality-wise?
Now I identify as pansexual. I usually just say queer, though. I also feel like I'm on the demisexual spectrum, but like I haven't really done a deep dive into it.
I love it. And you know the funny thing, and let me just take a little pivot. Every time I give a talk to like a group of people that I don't know, I walk in the room and I stand on the stage and I take a moment and let them kind of just take in all of this beauty. Then I say, how many people here need to have an emotional connection before you have sex with your, or need with your partner? And don't you know, half of the room, or maybe 3/4 hands go up. Now I usually start by saying, how many people here are in the LGBTQ+ community? Like 3 hands. Then I say, how many of you? Then I say, how many of you here? And then the hands go up. Then I say, can someone please do me a favor and look up the definition of the word demisexual? And I'll just be like doing something, and then someone say, it says, someone who has to have a deep emotional connection before. I said, okay, so let me ask the question again. So how many of you here are in the LGBTQ+ community? Then more reluctant. So the thing about it is, you don't know what you don't know. Hi, Michelle. You don't know what you don't know. Knowledge is power, and we should always be about knowledge. So why do you think you might be demisexual? I want to hear this. This is so cool. I've never met another person that I know that is demisexual.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Oh, you know, Alok Mignon is also demisexual. I learned that recently, and I was like, woo, woo. I
I love
watched
this.
it live. Yeah, I was like so excited.
Look.
Oh my god.
Yes.
Oh, I got my book signed by them, and I was so
And
excited.
my
Damn,
book
they
is
look so
also
good.
signed right
You have your
there.
book signed too?
Boom. Yes, honey. I don't play. Okay. I do not play. Love me some Alec all the way home. Yes.
I saw you were commenting on their post too. I was like, ooh, Dr. Lulu.
I am all over that human. Like, I read this book.
Yeah.
You see that? It was raining.
Oh, yeah.
It was raining and I was reading. It was raining and I was reading. And I got it. And I was like, this is how much I love this book. Like, this book taught me so much. This little pockets book. So, yeah, I love didn't say we should do this, but you know what? Y'all go get the book. And you know the funny thing, the book made the cut to the do not buy list. So it went straight up to, in fact, what happened was whenever that happened, they gave 300 or 3,000 copies for free, and I got a second one. So I have 2 of these now. Yes. So.
Okay, yeah, but. Oh, demisexual. Do you still want to hear that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, I feel like when I'm going through the world, I'm very rarely actually attracted to someone. Like, it's very rare. I can see someone and I know that this is an attractive person, but it's very rare that I actually like find myself attracted to anyone. It's really not until I've gotten to know someone. And honestly, it's not until they say something that like makes my mind like kind of spark, like until there's like a little like mental connection. Then I'm like, oh, you're like, you have beautiful curly hair, or like, wow, your skin, you take great care of your skin. You know, you just, and then that's when an attraction forms. And so I feel like that's why I'm probably demisexual leaning, because I just feel like we're all like, I see souls, and that's what I really find myself drawn to. That's why I
am just happy to hear. I'm so happy. Sorry, I didn't mean to.
Go ahead.
I'm just so happy to hear your words, because you know sometimes like, oh, Dr. Lulu, you know, you talk to me. This is real. Like, for me, I would not be attracted to you if I cannot have a conversation with you. I mean, it's not going to happen. And many women, if they will be honest, are like that. 1. 2, many women, honestly, it's not just the attraction, it's also the love making. It's a whole journey. You know, while men are ready to just like pull it down and just do it right now, women are more, we have to kind of work our ways towards it, into it. And then you could just say one thing and it's like, okay, it's over. But really, it's taken what you said like a month ago or a week ago. I was talking to a gentleman on the phone, and I just instantly was just drawn to him because I was telling him about the work that I do. And he actually interrupted me to ask me, but how do you refill your cup?
Oh, that's a good question.
That was so powerful. I was like, I need to meet this person. I need to meet this person. Because it was an online thing. I was like, I need to meet this person. So you're right about sometimes people just say something and it's like,
there's like a spark, then you feel it mentally, and then that's what draws you in.
And then some other people that have a conversation, and I'm just not going to be attracted to you. I mean, it just is what it is. I can hang out with you, but I'm not attracted to you, which is unfortunate because a lot of people shortchange themselves when they think that you must. That's just because a man and a woman are walking down the street, they're necessarily like in a relationship. I can walk down the street with 10 men and I'm not attracted to any of them. So that's why once I learned about asexual, I was like, oh, by George, I think I'm asexual.
If you are, congratulations.
Yes. Once I learned about it, I was like, but that's powerful because I want people to know that means I have more than one letter on the alphabet. I'm asexual. I am very proudly so. Okay. Number 2, sometimes I think I'm a lesbian, but I'm most comfortable as a bisexual. And then I just prefer the word queer. So that's 4. 4. So I love what Lizzo said, that everyone is gay. I think everyone is questioning. What are your thoughts about it?
Oh, geez. I used to firmly believe, like, if all people really just, thought about it. Like everyone would at least be bisexual, like if they just opened up their minds. But now I feel like now if someone tells me they're straight, I will respect it. I will believe that they're straight, because like when I was a lesbian, I hated being questioned about really being a lesbian. So now I'm like, maybe real straight people do exist. Maybe.
Maybe. And you know what? We'll never know. But what I do like about what you said is that 57% of United States LGBTQ plus adults raise their hands that they are bisexual. So
Yeah.
I like that, because that's more than half. What I don't like is the fact that that's only those who raise their hands. The truth is, uncountable of them are living and leading a heterosexual life because you can. While I was married to my ex-husband, I could have easily been a regular heterosexual person. And so I love that thought. Bisexual is definitely more common. And I think all of us have a little bit of bisexual. I've met a lot of people who tell me, when I was younger, I had some sexual relations with a guy, but now I'm not anymore. I said, There's also internalized homophobia. And so as we close up the hour, I want you to tell us, what are your thoughts about internalized homophobia?
I think internalized homophobia, I mean, it can literally lead to death, not just by suicide, but even by like gay panic. If a man thinks another man is hitting on him, like there's a part of their brain that literally just attacks. And we have to understand internalized homophobia for like literally for our safety.
I love that. Yes.
That's what I feel.
Yes. I know, for those who don't know, internalized homophobia is a term that refers to any person who harbors anti-LGBT thoughts about themselves. Okay, all right? So it's internalized. It's actually self-directed. Okay, now here's the thing. Even though the thoughts are self-directed, your actions are usually directed towards others. And one of my favorite things to say is intense homophobes. Really, truly intense homophobes are LGBT themselves. I could take that the day I die, when I get to the pearly gates, I'm like, okay, St. Peter, before I go wherever you're going to send me, can you just confirm? Yes.
I just need to know this one thing before we go.
Okay, and then he's gonna be like, well, so Dr. Lulu, that's a question for Jesus. Okay, can I just wait until Jesus gets here? When is he like out of the Zoom meeting with the angels? I said, Jesus, I just have a question. Jesus is like, what? I thought she was joking when she said that day when she was having the interview with Bailey. And then St. Paul is like, I guess not. And so Jesus, just tell us, is you or is you not gay? Oh my goodness!
It would be memorable.
And Jesus was like, wait, what? Is that the question you wanted to ask? I said, no, but while I have your attention, I wanted to clarify. Oh my God, the Christians are going to come for me.
Oh yeah, they are. No, they're all suppressed nowadays.
Oh my God, it's so absolutely round up. Thank you so much for coming. Thank you so much for hanging out. Thank you for your spirits today, for just, going along with it. I never know what's going to come out of my mouth. I don't censor it anymore. I'm 53 years old. Do whatever you want to do with yourself. That's your problem. I'm going to say what I want to say because somebody wants to hear it. Okay, we're getting a lot of love, so thank you. So how do we find you, follow your work, support you? Tell the people.
Thank you so much, Dr. Lulu. And thank you so much for having me on here. Like, I'm having such a good time just like sharing this energy exchange with you. I'm having a good time.
Thank you.
But my Instagram handle is baayfree. I'm baayfree everywhere with 2 A's. I'm a writer for magazines, so you could read some of my magazine articles. I have a new one coming out in September. It's going to be called The Colors of Success, that I really love. I also do a lot of like freelance writing and editing. So if you ever need writing or editing services, just hit me up and we can go from there. But yeah, find me on Instagram. That's where I mostly spend all my time.
Are you on Fiverr?
No, not anymore. I was when I first started freelancing, but I'm not anymore.
Okay, because I know definitely I am. So just so y'all know, baayfree is my editor. So yeah, go look them up and support them and all of that. But yeah, it has been amazing. I just love doing this show. I love what it means. I love that it's fun. If I don't have a guest, if I have a guest, I just love that people need to talk about serious stuff and laugh while they're doing it. Listen, you're not going to leave this world alive. So just have a blast while you're here. What? This is my final take on things. So my name is Dr. Lulu, aka the Mom Nutrition. If you didn't know, follow me, will you? I have a webinar that drops tomorrow. We're going to be talking about 5 simple mindset shifts that parents need to help them accept and support their queer kids. It's a thing.
Hell yes.
I know.
Hell yes.
Yes. And also my book, baayfree, you know, I can't even like edit that. I can't work on the book because of the TEDx talk.
Yeah. Well, you have to focus on one at a time, and then you can get to the other one when you're ready. If you try to do everything at once, you'll burn out.
Yeah, I know. I've tried my best. I say, okay, today I'm going to at least do 1 chapter, and then I'll do 1 chapter, and then I'll do another chapter. So I think I need coaching. So if Michelle, if you're still here, you can hear me. I need someone to coach me on my procrastination for my book. I need to get that book out before I get on Oprah. My interview with Oprah is in half an hour.
I know. Congratulations, by the way. That's so big. That's huge.
I was keeping that a secret. Yes.
That is so damn cool. That is so damn cool. Congratulations, literally. You're doing work that really makes a difference.
Thank you. So, and I also, this afternoon, I got a phone call from Texas Public Radio.
Uh-huh.
They do these like moth talks or something like that, something similar to that. And they want me to come and talk about me and my queer kiddo. So I am so excited. Like, bring it. So my name is Dr. Lulu, aka the Mom Nutrition. Thank you all so much for hanging out. baayfree, thank you for letting me do most of the talking. That's okay. I never tire for talking. I never tire for talking about what I believe in. And so ask yourself this question today. If you have negative feelings about the queer community, could it be that you are indeed queer? If you're struggling with your self-identity, holla at your girl, okay? Holla at me. I can help you. I'm a life coach, man. That's what I do for a living. I just prefer to work with parents of queer kids because, you know, my ultimate mission is suicide prevention in youth. But I'm a licensed life coach, or whatever they call it, certified life coach, so I can help you too. Thank you, Kat Lexa. So, baayfree, do you have any words for your 10-year-old self? What would you say to them right now?
Oh, damn. Okay.
I always save the best for last.
That's a good one. That's a really good one. I would just say what you're experiencing right now isn't forever, even though it feels like it. And there's a really beautiful life waiting for you. So just keep going.
Oh, I love it. And on
Thank you
that
for that
note,
question. That was so touchy.
y'all find baayfree, follow them, and I want you to notice how I did not mispronounce my guest today. You could do it. You could practice. It's difficult. It's hard, but it's doable. On that note, I'll see y'all on Sunday at 6 p.m. Central. I have a guest coming for my Parents of Queers podcast. Yes, yes. I'm the one person with 4 podcasts at the same time. You got a problem with it? Get your own podcast. All right, folks. I'll see y'all later. Bye.
Peace out.
Thank you so much for joining me. The show is called The Pride Corner. Find us on all your podcast apps and listen and share. Tell someone about us. We'll see you soon.